Welcome to the Home Loan Hub, your ultimate guide to mastering the world of home loans and property. I'm Zibuni Salimova, here to simplify the complexities of real estate and provide you with expert insights and the latest trends. Whether you're a first home buyer, an experienced investor, or simply curious about the property market, this podcast is for you. Join me each week as we unlock the secrets to property success and help you make informed decisions. Let's dive into the world of property together. Hello and welcome, Hayden Walker from Voyle Co. Hayden, thank you so much for joining me today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'm really excited about our chat today, actually, because I would love to find out more about who you are, what you do, and let's take it away. Tell me more about yourself.
So home life, work life, all of it.
All the private and juicy things. No, let's start with your job. Let's go
Cool.
with,
So I have been a real estate agent for 17 years now. So I started just before the GFC hit.
Oh, wow.
So that was a fun time in the market, and I was working in the city back then. Started with professionals, ended up at Leaders and Ray White in the city. And then following COVID, because I've been living up on the coast for about 12 years, I thought, why am I driving into town every day? And shifted business up here, just after COVID, and haven't really looked back, to be honest. It's, the lifestyle up here is a lot cruisier. The real estate, people seem to be friendlier. They answer your phone when you call them, which in Wellington City, it's probably a little bit busier, a little bit colder. People are always on the go and not necessarily have time to talk to an agent. So yeah, I've seen a lot in my career and been in different teams and, sold a lot of houses over the year, apartments, big executive homes. So yeah, I feel like I've probably sold everything from little one beds up to, big mansions and everything in between. So no, it's been a journey.
17 years, that's impressive.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a dinosaur.
Almost. You would be a dinosaur. If we compare dog years, cat years, and human years, and I think there's real estate years and human years as well.
I felt like I had more hair and less greys when I first started than I do now. But no, it's a funny industry where you either kind of sink or swim.
Yeah.
So the turnover is quite high. So I felt like I've earned my stripes and ridden out a few different markets and. Got to a good place. And obviously now that I work with my wife, Georgie, who you'll be chatting with as well, we've got a nice balance and, bring different skill sets to the table, which is nice.
Yeah. How's that? Tell me a little bit more about that.
Husband and wife.
Yeah. How's that working, in a team with your wife?
It's really good. Georgie she's one of those people that walks in a room and people are just, gravitate towards her. I'm quite a systems sort of oriented person. So I probably like to do a little bit more of the background stuff. But no, as I said, we're, a little bit, we're very different in our personalities, which may be what makes our marriage work as well. But, we both have very different skill sets, strengths and weaknesses that we kind of lean on each other to kind of plug the gaps and make sure everything that we're doing is what we should be doing. I think probably the difficulty with a husband and wife team is getting the family balance right. So
that was going to be my next question. How do you do? Because I know you guys have kids.
Yep, 3 kids. So we just have to put in boundaries and make sure that we set aside time. And our kids have grown up certainly with me doing real estate, and then with Georgie coming on board as well. I guess they're very helpful. We're like a blended family. So we have a couple of older kids who one's left school, one's just in his last year at school, and then we've got a younger son together. So it's been quite helpful that we've had stay-home babysitters when we need them, because real estate can be quite relentless and, we work very long hours.
Quite demanding industry isn't it?
You can't turn your phone off. No. I guess we always take quite a hands-on approach to the properties that we sell, and we feel like we have a duty to our vendors. We're selling their biggest asset. We feel like we should always be answering the phone and replying to emails promptly and all that sort of thing. So, we care about the people that we work for. I guess, it's a hard balance, because you don't want to fall into the trap where you're working 24/7. But the nature of the business, sometimes we do.
And I guess this is what sets you apart, in the realm of real estate world, that if you've got the strong ethics, work ethics behind you, then people will talk about you. They will say how awesome you were, when you were selling their house or when they were buying a house off you. Because I've got a couple of clients that have dealt with you in the past, and they're all singing praises. So that's on both sides, actually, vendors and sellers. Vendors and buyers. So it's
Kapiti is a small place.
Yeah.
So I always felt like Wellington was like 2 or 3 degrees of separation. Kapiti feels like one a lot of the time. You kind of you meet someone and they'll know someone that and vice versa, or you're running an open home and there's people catching up in the living room because they're friends, but they just happen to be looking at the same houses, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's we're very mindful that we're always on display. So you can't you want to be always putting yourself forward as best you can, but also showcasing the houses that we're selling as best we can. So we want to make that experience really enjoyable for groups coming through, make it the process easy for them. But never forget, we do work for the vendor. That's our primary obligation. So we're always working hard to make sure we're running good campaigns, and nothing's falling through the cracks, essentially.
Tell me a little bit about your campaigns that you're running at the moment. Like, what's the strategy behind it? What tools do you implement? What are you seeing?
We're big fans of deadlines in the first phase of marketing, and it's when we get called in to do an appraisal, it is a little bit of guesswork. We're not valuers, but we're looking at the tricky thing with real estate. You're always looking backwards in hindsight of what's been selling for what and how comparable that, the house that you might be looking to market compares. So it's a little bit of guesswork. So we probably focus on the process a little bit more. And we've always sort of taken the approach, like, we don't want to be the reason that somebody doesn't buy a house. We want to answer all their questions, always be available. If somebody wants to go back to a house 5 times, that's cool.
Yeah.
We'll do that. So it's just really trying to get people engaged in the process, not letting price get in the way of anything, particularly in that first initial phase. Just trying to get people excited. There's someone for every house out there. We've sold some real quirky ones over the years, almost to the point it might even be our strong suit, selling kind of out of the ordinary houses. Yeah. But we like a challenge, and I think we always have the take that mindset of can't wait to meet who might buy this house.
That's a good way to look at it.
Because you've got an interesting house. The likelihood is that the person that buys it will be interesting as well. So,
yeah, absolutely. What was the most expensive property you've sold?
We've sold plenty up in the 2s. Obviously we've got a big one in Otahanga at the moment, which we have had under offer a couple of times. That's probably getting right up there for Kapiti.
That's my dream home, by the way.
Feel free to come by it. I guess at the moment, like, probably where we're seeing a lot of activity is the sub 1 million kind of market, particularly the family homes. And we probably really enjoy working with first home buyers. They're just so excited. They don't know what they don't know, so we kind of look at it as our job to kind of educate them through the process, because they don't necessarily know all the questions that they should be asking. We take time to sit down with people, go through contracts, make sure they understand disclosures and, building reports, limbs, all that sort of stuff. So, there's a lot that kind of goes into buying a house. And, if you're on your 3rd or 4th house, then obviously you kind of understand how the process works a little bit. But the first home buyers, they're just cool. They're excited. It's like their first chapter, their first rung on the ladder. I think handing the keys over to them is one of the more satisfying parts of the job, because they've scrimped and saved for a long time to kind of get to that position, and it's just a really neat feeling.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I was just talking about it as well the other day, that when you help the first home buyers get on the ladder, Like the spark in their eyes is just so beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
You just can't replace. And I think that's what keeps me going as well with what I do. As you say, it's relentless, it's demanding, we're constantly on. There is no really break. Even if you go away, there's never a break.
Yes.
But what keeps you afloat is moments like that just give you that boost of energy, adrenaline, endorphin, whatever, all the happy feelings.
Exactly. And yeah, I mean, we always try to meet our clients at a house and hand over the keys, because it's kind of like that final signing off.
Yeah.
Keep in touch with them from that point onwards. But we're always trying to kind of take that personable approach where, we've taken them on this journey, or they've taken us on this journey to get to that point. It's just a really cool feeling. So I don't think people talk a lot about real estate, about earning money. If you're just in it for the money, you wouldn't last because it's too demanding, So there has to be an aspect of wanting to help people and wanting to provide good service.
The bigger why, right?
Exactly.
Why. Because as you said, you've been in the industry for 17 years. You've been through various cycles, economic cycles that you would have seen. You would have seen the COVID as well, and then what happened after COVID when the properties weren't selling probably as much. What are you seeing right now?
So obviously we've had a little bit of good news on the interest rate front. So the last couple of weekends have been pretty busy at open homes. We had a couple where, there were close to 30 groups coming through.
Wow.
Which is really encouraging. We're probably meeting, because a lot of our buyers come out from Wellington. The end of last summer going into winter, there was a lot of people that had been on the market for a while in Wellington. They'd finally sold. They were hesitant to put an offer subject to house sale. They waited until they had their sort of budget in place. So we had this bit of a flurry over winter. So I think July, August, September, we sold 15, 16 houses over that kind of period. And then what we're seeing at the moment is probably the next wave of, the spring market in Wellington. All those people have just got on the market down there, coming up the coast, starting to look round. There's some that have sold. We've probably seen a few more subject to house sale offers again coming back through the process. First home buyers, they've been there the whole time. I think a lot of them have realised, they're probably at the bottom of the market. Now's a good time to buy, and interest rates are going the right way. Probably the stickier part of the market is once you sort of get up over 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, we noticed that buyers are getting a little bit pickier in what they want. Kapiti Coast has always been really popular with the downsizer market. Typically they have good equity and a good budget, but they're very selective on what they want. So they won't rush in and just buy the wrong house. They'll shop around until they find the perfect. So some open homes, we'll get almost all three groups: first home buyers, the kind of the young family market, and downsizers, all looking at the one property. So, and I think that's why Kapiti often bucks the trend with a lot of, the general market around the country, is because we have such a diverse range of people looking here. And we're propped up by that downsizer sort of retirement segment.
Yeah, exactly. And do you see a lot of investors coming back by any chance?
Starting to come out. I mean, the yields probably aren't quite there yet. But certainly, if there's a property that they can see future growth, or somewhere they can add value and they're not too worried about yield, then I would say probably 99% of our houses, though, are going to owner-occupiers that we deal with. Not out of choice. It might be more just the type of properties that we've been selling. Obviously there's been a few big developments that have finished recently, so that might be starting to soak up a few of the investor types, buying a new build. Not sure. But, it's a balancing act for investors, right? So as interest rates come down further, they may all jump back in.
Exactly. It does make it more appealing to get back before the prices go up.
But plus the bringing back of the bright line as well,
that helped.
That's always a positive. So swings and roundabouts. I mean, we never go into one property campaign thinking this house is definitely going to sell to this buyer. We're always open, and we try to cast a relatively wide net, and not not try, I guess, preempt who may be the perfect buyer, because we're surprised all the time who buys houses, and and I guess it's probably a testament to the emotional attachment that houses kind of bring to people, because plenty of people, if they have bought a house, they've said to us, look, I never would have thought I would have bought the house. If I had kind of looked at it on paper, I would have thought, no, that's not going to suit. But as soon as they get in there and they kind of, the heartstrings go and they feel that kind of, it's the heart that kind of buys houses.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I often say to the ones that are looking to invest. As I said, remember, you're not buying your first home again. Don't fall in love with that.
Yes.
When you're an investor, try to keep your head cool, your heart cool. Just look at the outside of that beautiful kitchen that you're falling in love with. Think about it as an investment property. But you're right, a lot of people, they fall in love with the property. And
yes.
And that's what then drives them to sometimes to crazy offers.
so that's what we're always trying to do in our job is make people fall in love with places and get emotional, and try to keep the brain out of it too much. But
that's interesting how we both sit on different spectrums of the same thing, really.
Well, it's that balancing act, right?
Yeah.
And I guess it comes back to people getting good advice and making sure that they're not overextending themselves and getting too carried away.
What questions should a first home buyer ask you if they come to the open home?
So I guess probably the first thing is around the process, the type of sales process and what they need to know about that. So, if they could just make an offer whenever they like, or if they're working towards a deadline, or if it's an auction, obviously there's a few more hoops they have to jump through to get to the point that they can put their hand up and bid. And then it's probably just generalised information about the property. So, we typically always have a limb in the council files for a property. We do encourage vendors to provide building reports, but it's entirely up to them. So, probably one of the big things is in our industry is disclosures. So we have to be upfront about the information that we know that we hold in a property. We can't be seen to mislead people. So, it's a good starting point, just asking those simple questions to the agent, like, settlement date, when are the vendors looking to move? We get asked a lot what the motivation is for the vendor as to why they're selling. And we have to be a little bit careful because we can't put our vendors in a situation that puts them on the back foot. But most people are selling for genuine reasons. And then, we're normally asking them, look, have you got your finance organised? You're working with the broker. Have you got a solicitor? Have you got friends and family that have gone through this process that you can talk to, and just making sure that we're getting all those little questions answered for them, and getting all the information across. So, quite often we're drafting up contracts that they've never seen before, so we're talking them through, the legalities of what they're signing, because it is a binding contract. So we want to make sure that it's crystal clear. Legal advice is probably the big thing that we encourage, particularly first home buyers. All clients, we encourage it, but certainly
first home buyers.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff that they just don't know that they don't know. So
exactly. So now you can actually tell them, hey, look, go on that Home Loan Hub podcast and listen to the episode that I've done with you, because you've just listed everything.
Exactly. Yeah. Yep. So. And, I can talk to you about finance and, because there's a lot of intricacies to do with that.
Yeah. Because look, from the bank point of view, we don't really like auctions, especially for our first home buyers, especially if they don't have 20% deposit.
Yeah, hard to get them unconditional, right?
Well, we can get them unconditional, but normally they would have a point of, let's say 800K. That would be the absolute max that they can bid on.
Yes.
And they will have to get all their due diligence done beforehand. So that's spending money on registered valuation, spending money on builder's reports, spending money on LIM, lawyers, etc.
Yes.
For a chance to be able to win at the auction.
Yeah.
And that's why we normally say, look, stay away from them if you can. But can they go and put an offer after the auction has ended? And if they have not been successful bids, can they go and put an offer after the auction? Yeah,
we've run a few auctions, and I guess what you're trying to do in an auction is isolate the unconditional buyers, give them a head start. But we're always trying to, I guess, gather up that conditional interest in behind. So if it doesn't go at auction, you've got those fallback people who can jump in, put something on paper, and they might already have an offer on paper sitting there that if it gets passed in, we can present straight away. Cool. So yeah, certainly, that buyer group, we see the most conditions, in any process, whether it's priced by negotiation or running a deadline. And it's tied into a lot of I guess they don't want to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on due diligence to keep missing out,
Yeah, exactly. I had people that wanted to go to 2-3 different auctions, one after another, and I was like, please,
calm down.
Let's go back a second here, because when you actually give them the cost of how much it's going to cost them, then they go, oh, I didn't realize that. Yeah. A lot of my first-time buyers get confused, with different terminology that we use. Obviously, the deadline sale, the tender, the price by negotiation. And they often go, oh, I don't know how much it costs. How much do I need to make an offer? Can they ask an agent of a ballpark figure how much the vendors are expecting to get?
Yeah, I mean, so if a property's priced right, we're making our vendors fill out a form saying, look, any offer over that amount has to be taken with serious consideration. With a deadline, it can be a little bit tricky because you kind of, in essence, it's a bit of a blind auction because you don't know what other people are offering. And legally, we can't disclose that between parties. We also have to be careful not to, I guess, jeopardise our vendor's position if we know what they might accept and trying to, I guess, fish for offers under that. So, one of the main parts of running our processes, we're always asking people coming through our properties where they think the property sits in the market in terms of price. So we find it quite helpful to be relaying that back to other buyers who are interested, just saying, hey, look, this is where other buyers are seeing it from. That's never a guarantee. That's what it's going to sell for, but we're just trying to get a bit of a finger on our pulse. So, we obviously, when we're appraised, we're thinking, okay, it might sit in this level, but it comes down to the market and what value the market sees it at. So if we can give that kind of real-time feedback back to potential purchasers, a lot of them find it very helpful.
Because we've got that phrase in our world, isn't it? The house is only worth what
someone's willing to pay, right? Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
And that's never going to change, And I guess we're always trying to find the absolute best price out there, and competition is what creates that. Now and again you'll get like a unicorn buyer who just has to have a house and will pay whatever. But a successful campaign from the vendor's point of view is us being able to generate multiple interested parties. Because I guess we're always trying to keep the vendor out of the process and just make it buyer versus buyer. But sometimes it's just, we're quite upfront if buyers ask us, hey, look, are there any other offers in? We're not going to lie to them. If we don't have any others, we'll just say, no, look, you're the only one on the table. And likewise, if it is a multi, we'll make sure that they understand that and what the implications are.
The question that sprang to my head is, again, something that I see people sometimes asking me, why should they use an agent if they can sell it themselves? Do you see more private sales these days? Do you see more through the agents? What do you see?
I think in the last couple of years, there hasn't been a lot of private sellers on the market. And I think, during the boom, right, you could be the worst agent in the world. If you had the house and you put up a flag, it would sell. In a more normalised market, or we've gone through quite a trough where the prices fell off a cliff, and every deal we've had to chase. So it's you just have to stay on people, and the phone rings and emails. And I mean, our advice to someone who's wanting to sell a house privately, if they've got sales skills, then sure, they can give it a crack. It's not just opening up your house on a Sunday and then, waiting for offers to roll in. There's a lot of answering questions. I think a lot of buyers go into private sales. In their mind, they're thinking, well, we're going to get a reduction in price because they're not paying an agent. A lot of seasoned investors look for those private sales because they know that their negotiating skills and their knowledge of the market is probably a lot greater than
the person selling it.
The person selling it who's, they might have been in that house for 10, 20 years. And so, if you've got the skill set, absolutely have a crack. There's a lot of different platforms that you can use now for photos and signs and putting on TradeMe, all that sort of thing. But it's a skill in what we do. And, it's our process is honed over hundreds of sales processes that we've run over the years. So, I don't think you can substitute that. Some houses will sell themselves, but typically a lot of it is off the back of the agent and the blood, sweat and tears that we put into it. So.
Oh, totally. And I mean, look, I made that mistake years ago when we were selling our house in Palmerston North.
Yes.
I thought I could, I'm a great sales girl. I can sell a house. Why should I pay the agent $20K? And I just put the house on Trade Me, took some photos myself, etc. But then I soon realized, as you say, that the work that goes in behind the scenes with, when buyers are calling you and you have to give them this whole spiel about the house and, give disclosures, et cetera, et cetera. So that was 12 years ago, I think. I was like, you know what? Actually, no, I don't want to do this. Yeah. And then I passed
It's probably a little bit easier when it was back with, buyer beware, where all the onus was on the buyer to kind of uncover faults, and whereas now, a lot of the legal ramifications fall on agents when we're selling a house. We need to know what we're selling and be able to point out, potential faults in a house. Someone doing it privately, that's on them, there's always going to be that emotional attachment to the property, and, they're slightly biased in the sense that they want to sell their own house. So they, are they tempted to hide things that they know about the property?
So, exactly.
Yeah. And potential minefield.
And that's the thing, right? I'm always a believer of give the work to the specialist. Like, you don't go and treat your own teeth. I mean, you go to the dentist. So why should it be any different to your health, to your house, to your car? If you want your car to get the warrant of fitness, you go to professionals that do warrant of fitness. So
absolutely.
Or change the tires. So I think it shouldn't. And when it's your biggest asset that you have, you should really take.
It's a big risk, right? Yeah. And I think with the value that an agent add, obviously everyone always tries to attack our fees, but you pay for what you get. The fees are a minimal part of the premium we can potentially add at the end.
Exactly, because you could sell it by yourself at 500, or you could use an agent, sell it for 600, and yes, you paid 20, 30, 40Ks in fees. You still walked away 60K more than you would have had otherwise.
Totally,
and that's where your superpower comes in, I guess.
Yeah.
To be able to negotiate that higher.
Yep.
Price
me and Georgie work 6-7 days a week sometimes, so we're always at it, always available, and just chasing people down.
So give us, this is your 5 seconds of shout out to yourself. So where would people find you? How do people find you?
So we're obviously at Voyle Co down in 33 McLean Street. You can find us online, Hayden and Georgie. We have a good social media presence. Otherwise, always on phone. My phone number is 0275 872621. And if we don't pick up, we're probably in an appointment, but we'll call you straight back.
I love it. And I love how I see you guys on the back of the bus. Every time I drive, there's always your bus.
Well, our youngest kid is quite excited when he sees them, but our older ones, I think it's a bit cringy. So.
You can't win them. And the last question that I always wrap it up now is, what fills your cup? What brings you joy?
Family. I do a lot of fishing, just being in the outdoors, and I feel quite privileged that I get to work with my wife. We operate well together, spend a lot of time together, obviously. So yeah, I think we run a good operation, and we enjoy each other's company, and we enjoy helping people and trying to facilitate their move. So yeah.
No, that's awesome. Hayden, thank you so much for coming along today. It was awesome to get to know you.
Likewise.
A little bit more. And I'm excited to see what this year, end of the year brings, and the next year that brings us all. So thank you.
I appreciate the time.
Have a wonderful week.
Awesome. You too. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Home Loan Hub. I hope you found today's episode insightful and full of valuable tips to help you on the property journey. Don't forget to subscribe to stay updated on all things real estate and the property ladder. If you enjoy the show, leave a review and share it with others who might benefit as well. Keep an eye out for the next episode, where we'll continue to reveal strategies for property success. Until then, keep making savvy decisions and unlocking your property potential.